Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. It's a beautiful day here in Charlotte. Once again, I know we always have these beautiful days, even when it rains. Yeah, we in the Bible Belt. But anyway, this morning, I got up, and y'all know I have to take my Diamond Way bath every day, so I was getting prepared to do that. But unfortunately, and it wasn't unfortunate, fortunately, I'm going to say, Queese the Preacher went live, came down the stream, so y'all know I had to listen to him. Queese the Preacher is out of Chicago, and I ran into him a couple of weeks ago on live, and I was listening to his word, and it worked for me, and that's the thing. We have to find those preachers that believe in the same things you believe in and understand what you understand in order for us to receive it. And so that's the biggest key, But I wanted to talk about something this morning. While he was preaching this morning, Queese always preach in the nature, because God is nature, whether people know it or not. You don't have to be in a temple to learn the word of God. That's something that, they brought together, in history, where you come together, in a temple, closed in space to receive the anointing of God. But you don't have to be, because God is nature. And as people illuminate themselves and open up their third eye, which I spoke about yesterday, and I'll talk to y'all about that, you'll understand the true meaning of what God wanted us to do and what He needs us to do openly, for people to see. I don't explain it like how preachers explains it, so that's why I stay off the preacher side of things and let them do the work, but I go around from preacher to preacher, just like I used to go from church to church to see who I can receive and understand the way of God through. However, Queese has taken my heart and my soul right now of preachers, because he's breaking it down to the simplest form he possibly can in Bible way. Okay, I'm more. I show you. I show you how God works. And they're more. The preachers are more. They tell you how God works. So you can receive it. I'm more. I'm gonna show you. But I was really upset this morning. Something happened. He was preaching to us, and a person came. I guess he was on somebody's property, and a person came up and told him, "You can't be here. Pretty much, you're trespassing." And I want to explain something to people, and I want both parties, if they get to hear this post or podcast or not. Queese might have been trespassing, not knowingly, because every piece of land on this earth is owned by someone. Okay? As we go free, roaming the land, the government has certain parts of the land that we can utilize. Okay? They put that into the clauses when people buy land. This particular land right here could be utilized for this, for the people, the residents. It may be a side of a big piece of land. You ever drove through dirt roads and it's on somebody's land, where the government has put into perspective that it's okay for them to drive through that land, whether they like it or not, and that's just the way it's set up. And now that I'm in real estate, school, I'm learning a lot more about the trespassing issues and different things like that. Now, I get with the man, he might have felt, with his chest out that morning. What is this guy doing on my property? And, what is he doing? And got phones or cameras up. What is he doing? And I get it. They feel like they've paid for it. They worked for it. It's their land. They don't want nobody on it. We get it. Okay? However, it's a reason, because if you notice, if you watch Queese, if you notice, his background of nature is always different. So he goes in different areas where I guess wherever God needs him to be. Okay? And for all we know, that man could have needed a blessing. Okay? We don't know what's going on in his life. And he might have needed to stand there and watch Queese preach. Okay? That might have been the lesson for him. See, every time something happens to us, it's not always for us. Okay? It's to see how the other people respond. Now, God might have been trying to give that man a chance on something for a very, very long time. And he set Queese there because he knew that Queese was disciplined. He knew that Queese would say, okay, sir, I'm going. This is your property, I'm going. But it could have been something that he needed to learn from Queese this particular day. Okay? And whether he know it or not, by letting Queese be on his land to preach, he was sowing to God. Okay? So now he just took that sow away. Okay, see, this is the thing people don't understand. And I try to explain this to people all the time. You don't always have to sow to churches. You sow to who God tells you to sow to. Okay? This is why we must open up our third eye so we can hear him clearly. Okay? This is the way it works. Okay? Don't get mad when your bank account is empty because you've been sowing to the church and that's not what God told you to do. God told you to do it over here. Okay? This is why we meditate. This is why, people get scared when you say open up the third eye. Show you the triangle on a regular basis. Okay? Y'all want to make it be everything else of what it really is. Okay? The triangle is the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, and our Father God. Okay? And in the center of that is the third eye, which is our brain, to understand what those three coming together do for us. Okay? However, people choose not to understand it the way it's supposed to be. Granted, we know not everybody was taught the same way and everybody's not as smart as others. We know that. This is why they're preachers. This is why people teach. Because even though you might have been taught one way, it could have been the wrong way. Okay? And we're all out here trying to teach y'all guys the proper way to receive our God. Okay? And like, I'm going to use this for instance. I was so upset, it was a month ago. Matter of fact, it'll be a month tomorrow. March 22nd, I woke up, I went in, looking at my plants. Y'all know my products are all organic. So I chose to grow my products so that way, for one, it'll be cost efficient to give. I can charge less if I'm growing the product. Okay, I'm going to just bring it there. I can charge less because, one, I don't have to use money to purchase it because God has given it to me. Okay? So then I can make my product a little bit cheaper because I'm saving money on this end. Okay? So this is why I chose to grow some of my product, some of my ingredients to make my products. Okay? Because I use natural stuff. Well, I woke up this particular day and I went out there and I've been trying to grow my thyme since last year. I was so upset. I had went out into the community, I don't know if I talked about my plants not growing fast enough or whatever. But I walked up on a lady. I was doing my Instacart and I walked up on a lady and she had the biggest, prettiest thyme tree. And I said, what is this tree? And she said, oh, that's thyme. I said, is it really? And she said, yeah. You want some? And I said, yeah. Thank you. So she went and got aluminum foil and, so it could be protected because she knew I was out working. And I needed the thyme, not only just for my products, I needed it to cook with because I cook with it as well. And she didn't hesitate because she saw me staring at it like it was gold, and it was, to me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, she has exactly what I need. A big thyme tree, and I'm sitting there like a little kid, like staring at it like I'm staring at a toy, and she saw it in my eyes and she said, you want some? That was her way of sowing to me. God sent me there. He knew that my thyme wasn't doing right, and he knew I needed it. He sent me where I can get it, and it was given to me freely, open-handed. That's a woman of God, okay? She didn't hesitate once to say, oh, yeah, it's a thyme tree, and, you can get it. But she did tell me where I could get it from. But right after that, she said, you want some? And didn't hesitate to give it to me. Okay, that was her way of sowing that day. And that's the way it works, listening to God. She was able to read my reactions to that thyme tree immediately. And God told her, give it to her. I need her to have it. I brought it home, let it dry out, and used some of it, and then the rest of it dried out too much, so I had to discard of it. So I've been battling this thing with this thyme. Okay, so this year I went out there because all the plants pretty much died over the winter. And, I went out there and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do about these plants. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rechange the soil and water it and, stuff like that. And that's what I did. So it started growing. And I'm like, look, I got a little thyme plant coming in. I was so excited. Y'all don't know how excited I was. Because I've been trying to grow this thyme for 2 years. Well, this would be the second year. So I came back a couple of days later, and that piece was gone. And I already knew who did it, the bird. Because he's always stealing. He's always stealing pieces of my plants. My significant other, marijuana, he used to steal that too, And I'm like, why does this bird keep stealing? So I was angry, like, why? So I stood at my window, and y'all know there's a lake right behind my house. So I looked at the lake, and I calmed myself down, and I evaluated the whole area and scenario. Okay. Then I came back in my room, and I meditated, and I went back past my window, the door, my glass door, and I evaluated it again. And I'm watching him now. He's flying all over the place. I knew it wasn't the geese because the geese don't fly up there. Okay, I knew it was the red robin. It's actually two birds, the red robin and it's another one. Okay, but I knew it was the red robin. And I'm like, why, I'm talking to him, like, why you keep stealing my stuff? Like, why? Stop. I'm talking to him. And I called a friend. I said, listen, the birds listen to men voices better than women voices. So can you come talk to the bird? He thought I was crazy, but, that's how it is. That's how I was raised in New York. The men is the ones that was raising the birds. I grew up watching men raise the pigeons, men raise the roosters. I lived in back of a rooster that cock-a-doodle-doodled at 6 a.m. in the middle of the South Bronx, okay? So, my first thought was, okay, I need a man to come talk to these birds so they can stop stealing my stuff because I need it. But that's not what I needed. And I didn't realize that until I sat down and opened up my mind. When I opened up my mind, I said, okay, why do humans steal? Food. Because plants to them is food. Because they're hungry. Okay. All right. So God says, buy him food so he won't steal your plants. Because he likes that dime. That's what God was saying to me. So, of course, y'all know I got online and looked for a bird feeder and some food. And he got a tip, too. I know it sounds crazy. You giving the one that hurts you a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's like, I said, let me make him comfortable. Let me give him a bath. And I'm going to give him some food. So I knew he was eating the food, because I would see the scraps of him open up the little seeds and stuff. And then he brings it from one corner to another corner. I don't know what that's about, making more mess. So I got a bad bird right now that makes a lot of mess that I got to clean up. However, he hasn't stole a dime. So now 4 weeks has went by. And I put the picture on Facebook if y'all want to see it, the video. And 4 weeks ago, it was just a little stem. Now I have so many stems, they're falling over, okay? I had to take a little string to try to hold it up because they're falling over. So when I sold and got him his bird food, I sold to God's nature, and gave him his bird food in a bathtub. God made that dime grow 10 times fold. And it was amazing to me, So people don't understand why I'm so into God, because I watch the way he does things, and it's amazing. It's amazing, people, and he don't always give us bad testimonies. It's not always bad, even though to me, because for everybody, things are different, how a person may feel about a certain situation. And for me, God knew how much I wanted that dime. That's what he attacks. You know what I'm saying? So you can pay attention. God knew how much I wanted that dime because I needed it for my products. And I want to save money. So to me, where to someone else, it may not seem like, well, it was just dime. You can go to the store and buy that, but not pure organic. I can go buy pure organic dime. But the point is, I didn't want to go buy it. I wanted to grow it. That was my goal. That was my that's just what I wanted to do. And it was in my heart. It was in my soul. So it was very disappointing to me to see this bird just take off with my stuff. Like, who gives you the right? I know you God's child, but who gives you the right to take my stuff? I need nature. I need the outside for my stuff to grow. And you just come up as a bird and just take my stuff. I could have went and got my gun and killed it. Said, I'm going to wait. Or get a BB gun or a slingshot and wait for it and say I'm going to kill it. Because it keeps stealing my stuff. Granted, I can't physically talk to it, I mean, birds do talk, but, we don't really understand everything they're saying. So I can't really physically talk to it. Like, I would be able to talk to a person and say, hey, like, what's wrong? Why you do this? Can I help you some type of way? So God needed to talk for the bird to me, and that's why I had to open up my mind. That was a test for me because God knew how much I wanted it. So that's what he attacked. He said, you're going to stop giving these people in the street money. I don't want them to have it right now. I need you to do something over here right now. This is what I need you to do. And I need you to listen. Because this bird is hungry. In actuality, he was, I guess. Because now he's not stealing my time. The whole time, my time was probably growing. But he was taking it. Because he was hungry. So last year when I thought my thigh wasn't growing, and I'm like, well, why is it not growing? Every time it grew, and I was always working so much, so I wasn't even paying attention to it for real. I come in water again, keep it moving. Let me tell y'all something that happened to me yesterday. A screw got stuck up under my screen door. I couldn't get the door open. So I walked past, and I'm like, I gotta get this door open. I said, I gotta feed these plants. Now, y'all know yesterday was pretty warm, and I had watered them, and it rained a couple of days prior. So I'm like, okay, they should be okay for a couple of days, but I couldn't get it open. And I said, okay, I gotta get out there. And I was like, y'all should have seen me. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like getting ready to go into a panic. I called someone to open it for me, and they couldn't get here in time. And I'm like, I said, God, and this is the truth. This is the God honest truth. I said a prayer. I said, Jehovah God, this is your work, and I need to get out there so I can assist it, and it looks beautiful, and I don't want it to die, so please help me open up this door so I can go out there and check on my plants. I said my prayer, and I kept saying, I'm not going to be able to get this screw out, out of this door so I can open it. And so I was saying to myself at first, okay. Then I said, okay, I could take the door off and get it out. That's too much work. So I said, God, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And one, I needed oil. So I told my daughter, I said, give me some oil. I said, don't I got some WD-40 around here? I said, but I ain't got time to look for it. I think it's in the storage, and that's out there too. I'm like, ooh, what am I going to do? Oh, I said, give me some olive oil. I need the hammer, and I need a screwdriver, and yeah, just give me those things. Them 3 things right there. So I use those 3 things, the oil, the screwdriver, and the hammer. And I just looked at how it was inside the door to stop it. So anyway, I kept working, and I knocked it out, and the door was able to open, and I just stood there in front of the door and looked out there at the flowers and the plants, and I'm like, I did it, and it was like God was taking me through a channel like, okay, this door is closed, and you can't get through it, but you have to do it. That's what God was trying to tell me. What door did he want me to open up and receive? I didn't see before that door got stuck, and I had to open it up and go out there. And I went out there and I looked at all the plants, and they was all looking good. And then I noticed my thyme again, and I'm like, whoa. You are humongous from a month ago. I said, I got to tell him. I said, in 30 days, look at you. In 30 days, less than 30 days. You got so many Sprouts is like, how? I said, I know how. God. Because I sold to what he told me to sow to. Not the people on the street. But I need you to sow to someone you can't speak to. Someone that you can't even catch in the act. Because I couldn't catch him in the act. But I knew it was him, the bird. But I never caught him. And then, taking y'all back a little bit, I had walked past my window. And he was on the porch. And I said, he was on the balcony. He was eating his little food. And I said, you like it, huh? And he was chirp, doing, you know what they do. I said, okay, I see you. You enjoying yourself. You thankful. He didn't run, like fly off or nothing. So he was comfortable. And he says, she loves me. She loves me. So I can go up there and I can eat. I don't have to steal no more. So you understand how God works? And I just wanted to, throw that out there. And the same with Queese. This morning when he was preaching. Whoever that man was might have needed to hear Queese's word. It could have been something that Queese could have done for him to help him. Or whatever he may be going through. Because if a person know that someone has a Bible in their hand and they're preaching, and they tell them, you got to go, that means you're bitter inside. We already know that person was bitter. Because he had a Bible in his hand. He could have waited until he was done and said, normally I don't let people, come on the property, but you was preaching, so I didn't want to interrupt you because I'm a man of God, of myself. But, we try to keep the property, free of people. And it's not what you do, people. It's how you do it. That could have been that man's way of sowing to God today by allowing Queese, the preacher, to have his sermon right there in nature. That's what I love about this Bible Belt. About North Carolina. I don't know about South Carolina. I ain't been down there in the midst of things yet. But here in North Carolina, we can do whatever's needed. We need to do in nature outside. If y'all notice, the Bible, most of it takes place outside. So I can respect some of the ways that North Carolina thinks. They're taking on some ways of other states, and they need to stop certain things from happening. But for the most part, North Carolina tries to follow the way God does things. And I can respect it. I can see it now because my third eye is open. I've meditated so much to where I can see it now. I couldn't see it a couple of years ago. But I can see it now. And I'm about to walk through the door. That same door that was stuck. But God had to show me. He said, you're about to walk through the door. It was stuck for you because you couldn't see. But now you can see. And I stood there at the door for some seconds, guys. I stood there. Excuse me. Allergies a little messy this morning. Not too bad. About to jump in my bath and I'll be all right. But I stood at the door for a moment, like, hesitant before I went out there. So that's the thing. When we're working through God, you not only watch what you say, you also watch the things that you do. Okay? You know, some people say, oh, I say things and I ain't even mean to say that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You just chose not to understand why it was said. There's a lot of people out here that God works on a regular basis. And we call those the anointed ones. And sometimes they don't even know they're anointed. But God constantly shows you. Until you get it. And sometimes some people don't get it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and I hope Chicago is listening, y'all people got to get from being so uptight. Okay, and I'm going to just throw that out there, because what I witnessed today just didn't sound right to me. How a man that has a Bible in his hand, he doesn't have a slew of people, like he holding church on this man's land. He was just on a live. And you asked him to move. How disrespectful to God. When he's teaching in these times, what we're going through in these times, the youth needs to be taught. They need to receive God. I mean, what planet is this man on? I mean, that's just my theory, What planet is he on? We're going through all this stuff. We still got COVID all over the place. Now we got the bird flu taking our food away. We got high gas, high food prices. We got a war. And you don't want someone to teach about how to receive God? And our nature is the key of survival? I bought a grape tree, y'all. I've been looking for a lemon tree too. But I bought a grape tree. I was so disappointed that it said that the tree needs to be alive for at least a year before it can sprout grapes. I'm like, okay. I'm waiting, okay, to be able to enjoy the free stuff that God has given me. That I don't have to take money and go purchase it. My daughter was cooking yesterday. And this is while I was trying to get the door open. And she said, Mom, we was making some shrimp salad. She wanted some onions, scallions in it. I grew those too, scallions. And, we use them in our fried rice. We eat fried rice a lot. And it's very cost efficient, And we have the stuff that we need right here, So she's like, oh, Ma, I can put some scallions in there. No, because I said, do you want onions? Because we got onions in there. She don't really like onions that much. She likes the scallions. And we have organic scallions that we grow over here. So she said, well, I can use the scallions. And I looked at her and I said, how? And she said, I can go outside to the balcony and get a scallion. I said, no, you can't because the door is shut. I can't get it open. So how you going to get the scallions? She just looked at me and she was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I said, but I'm going to get it open. I'm going to get the door open so we can get our food. God is nature. He gives us shelter to rest our heads. But for the most part, we need to be outside to endure the gifts that God has given us. I didn't realize how many gifts God has given us until I started making my products. And I'm going to just be honest with you. I knew about the trees and the fruit and all this stuff. But I never really looked at it as a gift from God. We really don't need money to eat for real, if we prep ahead of time. It's a slower process, but we'll get there. We will get there. And yeah, once again, I'm going to say I was upset about them grapes. Y'all know I love grapes. You always see me eating grapes. I'm eating grapes by the fireplace. Grapes with wine. Grapes. I just like grapes. And grapes can turn into wine, but I like grapes. They fill me up. They have a lot of water in them. They fill me up. They give me energy. Anything that does my body well, I want it. Okay? And that's just the facts. And if I can grow it and get it for free, I want it even more. And that's just the facts. We have to learn what God needs us to do at this time, because we're going through a lot of trying times. And, what's that saying? Forgive those that do not know. Like the man today that stopped Queese. He may not know about God. Or he does. And gave him chance after chance after chance to come to him. And he refused to. Now God may have to spank him. Just like what Queese was talking about. And this particular spanking may be rough for him. And he's going to sit back and wonder why. So we got to think about these things, people. Don't think the people of God is crazy, because we're not. We see God for what God is. Amazing. Even though the government created money, I can still eat if I want to. How is that crazy? The government, like right now, our state is holding back our state income tax. We haven't gotten it yet. If I was dependent on that to eat, I would starve. But God says, no one on his earth should ever be hungry. No one on his earth should ever be dirty. The earth is 75% water, 25% land. Do you know how much water that is? Just like our bodies are made up of 75% water. What happens to us once we get dehydrated? That's why it's very important for us to stay hydrated. Our body's no longer working, shut down. So do you realize how God was doing it when he created it? and created us. We have to sit back and actually look at the realization of life. This is why God said you should live everlasting life on earth. Not that we will live forever. However, but meaning, as long as there's earth, you should never die. Especially not from starvation. Shout out to New York on this one. You know, I was in New York about 8 years ago, and everywhere I went, they had gardens, tomatoes, cucumbers, and I'm walking, and they had gates, you know, but they had the gate open, so if the community wanted to go in and get tomatoes or whatever the case may be, it was so beautiful to me. I was at home. I was like, this is my home. Look what they've done. Because they know the rent is high. They know it's hard for people to manage. Let me tell you something. If a hungry man walk past and he get one tomato, if he's not allergic to it like myself, I'm allergic to tomatoes. You get one tomato, that's like eating a meal. And it was grown for free. So that's the things that we have to learn and understand how God designed this thing. That's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. I just need to bring that to your attention because it just touched base on, on me hard, when Queese was going through that, and I just felt the need to tell my story about my thumb again because I told it on Facebook, but I needed to speak about it again for those that didn't see it on Facebook or just it didn't run past them yet. I needed to tell it. God said, you got to tell the story because here it is again. Something else is going on in nature. But this time it's by man. So I was able to see the connection, to an extent. I know some of y'all are amazed, of how I've changed my life, the way I've changed it, but I didn't change my life. God did. God did this to me by taking me through trials and tribulations, and I came through it, and I had a story to tell. It's just like a baby, with their mama. They know that their mommy is going to take care of them, going to feed them, make them better when they're sick, do all these things for them. And that's what make people run to their mothers. Well, just like with me and God, He has showed me, He has proven Himself to me that there's no one better than me. And anything I bring you through, you will come out of it because I control it. So if any of those people that say, why you love God so much? I'm not going to say who it was, but a person said to me, you got all this wine, but no liquor. I said, no, wine is God, it's grapes. Because I have this thing with grapes, y'all, I don't know. And he just looked at me and said, huh? We know he don't know the Bible that well. Because if he did, he would know what I'm talking about. See, people have messed up the concept of wine because they would take a whole wine bottle and drink it up and become winos. That's what we used to call winos. But you're only supposed to have a little bit. A bottle of wine is supposed to last at least a week. But people abuse everything. Everything. This is why we suffer. I had to tell a lady the other day. She was telling me she's a caterer and she works at Dollar Tree and she got another job and I was just looking at her and I said, well, why so much? She said, well, I just be needing money, I said, your bills? She was like, no, not really. I just, I guess I'm greedy. I said, well, being greedy comes with a price. She said, yeah, because I do be tired. I be so tired and weak. And, yeah, it comes with a price. That price is death. She was like, never looked at it like that. I said, yeah. Because you're working yourself to death. You must rest. You don't have time for too much of anything but what you're doing. And being greedy. So I said, who you being greedy for? Is it for your family? Because if you being greedy for your family, I can respect that. You want to leave your people some money. Because you're gonna kill yourself doing all that working. But you know what? Yeah, I think I need to evaluate some things. And I just smiled at her, and I left. God hates greedy people. He taught me that young. Real young. I used to be greedy. I used to eat a lot. Just eat and eat and eat. To where he took the food away from me so easy and so fast. I didn't eat for a whole year. No food for a whole year. No more. So he taught me early. I lived off of water, Mylanta, and Inshore for 1 full year. And I didn't even know what was wrong. The doctors didn't even know what was wrong with me. That was God teaching me. You will not be greedy. That's why I always give. When I have a lot, I give. And I be like, I'm not going to be greedy. God done taught me what he'll do to me. He spanks us. Whether it be through situations, it could be through sicknesses, it could be through a whole lot of things. But he will teach us what he needs to teach us. Just like right now, I had got word that my niece got killed, and I'm still trying to find out information and it's bothering me, but it made me look at my family a little bit different. Like, how is it I can't get in touch with anybody to find out what's going on with my niece? I'm asking strangers. I'm on Facebook like, hey, what, it's not sitting well with me. I need to be able to know what's going on with all my family members, whether I'm around them or not. Yeah, sometimes you don't want to be around your family members because they get on your nerves. You don't like the way they act. They just be doing too much, However, we should always have a way to contact them. So God was teaching me something through that, He taught my daughter something through that as well, But we got to go through our learning lessons. And that's just what it is. That's what God takes us. He takes us through channels for us to learn what we need to do to be happy here on earth. It wasn't meant for us to be sad. We have choices. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie, Deja, whatever y'all call me. I love you guys, and I'll talk to y'all soon.